Welcome to Real Questions, Real Faith. I'm the host. My name's Darien, Gabriel, and I get to do this, loving the opportunity. And I just wanted to open up this series that we're beginning with an episode that just says why we're doing it. And the real honest answer is we're just trying to help people deal with the questions they're having that have to do with faith. Questions that have to do with life and faith and how those two work together. And I'm coming at it from a Christian worldview. I use the Bible as my guide for life, and I believe that God is working actively in my life and through my life. But I realize that there are a lot of questions about what that looks like and how that works. So this is the purpose of it. Real questions means that we're acknowledging that we all have questions, and there's a lot of questions that are being asked. You can do a search on YouTube, and you can actually see what questions are the most popular about a particular topic. There are websites dedicated to doing the same thing. So we want to hear from you what your questions are. So that's what the comments are good for. But also we're going to be asking questions that a lot of people are asking for. And so I'll be doing my homework on that so that I can attempt to do that. I'm no PhD, but I do have a master's from Southeastern Baptist Theological Seminary. I've been in Christian ministry for, full-time for I'm in the 29th year of doing that. I was a civil engineer for 10 years. I've taught in the local Christian college. I've also taught middle schoolers. I'm married, 4 kids, grandkids, married 37 years. So I've got some life experiences that I think will help answer some of these questions. So the questions are not just academic in how we respond to them. It's not just how Scripture speaks to it, but it's also how I'm trying to live out some of these questions and how I deal with that. So that's a big part of what we're doing. I use the word real for real questions, real faith, because there's 3 words that come to mind when we're asking questions. And I want our questions to be reflecting a curiosity about life, faith, and how to live those two together. So curiosity is the first word. Second, I want those questions to be humble. I want to be, what that means is when I ask the question, I want to be teachable. If there's something for me to learn here, I want to have enough humility to say, I can learn from this. And then the last one is honest. I want to ask honest questions. I'm not looking to be a skeptic, though it's okay to be skeptical. I'm really trying to get at truth and what does it mean and how does it work and so what. And so that's kind of my approach in general. I'm pretty casual in my approach at a lot of things, but I'm serious about the questions and answers that we're going to be dealing with, even though I may not take myself that seriously. So that's a little bit about me. There's a couple of guys in faith, I feel, in the Bible that talk about, that ask questions and have doubts and things. I think of Nicodemus, who was a Jewish rabbi who was very well trained, highly respected in the days of Jesus. He met with Jesus, I think secretly, but certainly at night, which is why I like to call it Nick at Night. He's meeting with Jesus. He brings his disciples because he was a rabbi. Jesus has his disciples there. And basically they're having a one-on-one. He's asking questions of Jesus because Jesus is saying some pretty radical things in the eyes of a typical rabbi in Judaism in that day, first century. But he seems open and genuine. He seems curious. I think he's honest in how he's dealing with Jesus, and I think he's humble in that he's teachable and trying to learn. And so I love Nicodemus' example. I also think about people that are more like Thomas, one of the 12 disciples, who really had a rough go of it and trusting Jesus. And so he's got that nickname, Doubting Thomas. But there are some kinds of doubts that are good and some kinds of doubts that are not. There's the doubting that any of this is true and it's just being a real skeptic, I think is not good because it means I'm not open to the truth, even if it goes down a road I'm not comfortable with. But I do believe there's genuine doubts that Christians and non-Christians alike have, that they're just questioning things they don't have confidence in but want to believe, but they just need some more answers. And so I want to help those folks in particular. So those are a couple of things that are related to that. One of the reasons faith matters to me is it affects life. James 2:12 says, in the same way, faith by itself is, if not accomplished by action, is dead. And so we want faith that works, not just a faith that's I say I believe. We want a faith that is demonstrated in how I live. That's where you really see what my faith is. And then I like Hebrews, where it says, Hebrews 11:6. These are books of the Bible. James is a letter written by James. Hebrews is a letter that has an anonymous or an unknown author. And he says, or she. And without faith, it's impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. I'm earnestly seeking the Lord. I'm still learning, and my hope is that you'll join me on my journey, and that we will be able to please God, because we're going to exercise faith. Investigating the Bible with the intent of doing what it says, that's an act of faith. Praying to God and asking him for help, that's an act of faith. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to cover your questions. So in the comments, if you'll drop any questions you have, what we'll try to do is cue those into future episodes and let those questions be a part of those episodes. And we'll probably group them topically so that we can get a lot of different nuanced questions on the same topic all together. You can put those there. Also, you can help us out if you subscribe to the podcast. This is brand new. This channel has a number of purposes right now. It carries my messages that I preach and teach. It carries both the edited version, but it also has the live stream every week, and so you can catch those, plus other podcast episodes that I will upload. Some will be random, some will be part of this series, Real Questions, Real Faith. At the end, I want to just end with this, our definition of what it means to be a disciple of Jesus. So, because you say, what is a disciple? A disciple is someone who's growing to be and do like Jesus while abiding in him and leading others to do the same. And that's our prayer for this episode. That's our prayer for every episode, and it's our prayer for this series of podcasts.